Today on Studio G, a day at the circus takes a turn for the worse. What happened to the acrobats during the performance?
And later, an inspiring story of a Las Vegas local who overcame his heroin addiction. What he's doing to help those in need. All this and more coming up. This is Studio G. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this final Monday edition of Studio G. I'm Ron Paul Gavino.
And I'm Daphne Barreto. A famous circus act called the Human Chandelier ended in a horrific accident.
At least 9 performers were hurt during the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus in Rhode Island. We want to warn you, this video may be disturbing to some. The apparatus which holds the acrobats by the hair suddenly falls to the ground. The drop is 25 to 30 feet in the air.
At least 11 people were taken to the hospital. 9 were performers. Many of the performers suffered from broken bones, and 1 is in critical condition. The circus is working with the Providence Public Safety to investigate the incident.
Some fans who enjoyed the Mayweather vs. Maidana fight ended up in the hospital while leaving the event. 24 people were injured and transferred from the MGM to hospitals after being trampled Saturday night. A large crowd was exiting the Grand Garden Arena when a loud noise mistaken for a gunshot caused everyone to panic. Fire department responded to the scene but found no gunshot victim. Later, it was discovered that a wall near the Starbucks had fallen over. MGM has not responded to questions about the stampede.
The loss of his son from a heroin overdose made one Las Vegas resident express his grief by helping others struggling with addiction. Reporter Tristan Balagtas has the story.
And it didn't start off bad. We didn't see anything wrong with it. It just seemed like, we were just having fun. We were just teenagers having fun.
According to Dylan Engel, what started out as something innocent led to a dangerous, life-threatening addiction.
I was taking up to 30 to 40 pills a day, Lortabs, and that just got too expensive, and I eventually turned to heroin.
Dr. Michael Levy, who specializes in treating addiction, says people turn to heroin for a number of reasons.
Heroin is cheap, it's long-acting, and the selling point of heroin is the extreme euphoria that's associated with its usage.
Dylan wasn't the only one in his family struggling with addiction. His father battled and beat alcoholism.
I got sober in May of 1994. I'm, a product of long-term recovery.
And his brother Reese also battled an addiction to heroin, a battle that he ultimately lost at the age of 19. Joe Engel remembers his son.
Very dynamic, very, very loving, very energetic. Just a beautiful, beautiful young man. I saw an awful lot of not feeling quite right, trying to overcompensate, with some of his actions by being a perfectionist, by being the best at something and being very, very intense. And somehow deep down I knew that he would probably fall into drugs and alcohol.
Joe Engel set aside his grief and made it his mission to help others battling addiction as well. He set up the Las Vegas chapter of There Is No Hero in Heroin, a nonprofit dedicated to helping fund the cost of staying at a sober living house.
We hold fundraisers, we sit at community farmers markets, community events.
And Dylan found the strength to get sober.
That was my crutch before, was my drinking and my drugs, my heroin. That was my crutch, and I don't have that crutch anymore. And now I get to live life on life's terms.
There Is No Hero in Heroin meets here monthly at Solutions Recovery, where they offer hope and support to those suffering from addiction.
There's hope. If they don't want to live that way, they don't have to. There's a way out. We know the way out, and we can show them the way out.
For Studio G, I'm Tristan Balagtas.
Heroin use is rising in the Las Vegas Valley, but There Is No Hero in Heroin is working to find ways to help others towards recovery. coming up how a hip-hop event on campus is using music to talk about diversity.
And later, what some UNLV students say distracts them from passing their math class. Studio G will be right back.
NSPCA, where no animal has an expiration date.
Your community's farmers market. Welcoming, lively, friendly. A place where neighbors and friends come together to celebrate their community. With over 50 vendors, organic, sustainable, fresh produce are available just for you. Support and buy local at Fresh 52.
The genre of hip-hop goes far beyond the sounds of music, and UNLV was able to host an event to educate the community about this art form. The first Hip Hop U event was held in the Student Union on Friday. Sponsored by the Office of Civic Engagement and Diversity, Hip Hop U was a day-long interactive seminar. The purpose of the event was to discuss the connections between hip-hop and social justice in an engaging way.
I think when you talk about diversity and social justice, the same people show up. You're starting to preach to the choir, and that's not always the best conversation. And so how do you have a conversation around these issues in a different way that's engaging and connects to people and meets them where they are? And hip-hop is the way to do that. I think there's so many people who are connected to hip-hop in different ways with different genres.
UNLV students, faculty, staff, and the local community came together to learn about hip-hop through workshops, discussions, and community art.
Graffiti artist is one of the elements of hip-hop, and I respect its roots, and I'm about hip-hop, and hip-hop's my community. So hip-hop to me is like the innovation, like the empowerment and the evolution.
The event also featured speakers from academic scholars, entertainment professionals, and catered food. There's no official set date, but attendees are hoping that the event comes back next year.
College students from RateMyProfessor.com are advising others not to take certain math teachers because of their thick accents. This problem concerns Carl Reiber from the Academic Affairs. He says there is a mixed match between the math teacher who is passionate and the student who is afraid of math because of their bad experience. The Academic Success Center has purposely created a free summer bridge program which helps students pass Math 95 and 96. Reiber says they should take advantage of these programs. That way, students should have no excuse of being proficient in math.
I think one of the things that I do get concerned about when students complain about a faculty member having an accent, we live in a global society. And it doesn't matter where you go in the US, there are individuals who come from some other culture, other country, and quite honestly, sometimes it's hard to understand someone who comes from the deep south in the United States because they have a southern accent. We can't let that be an excuse. And in all honesty, if you sit and really listen to someone who has an accent, you can very quickly overcome that and you're fine. And so I don't like that argument that, oh, my professor had an accent, therefore I couldn't learn. You can and you have to.
If you're struggling with math, you should contact UNLV's Expect Success program at 702-774-4624.
As finals quickly approach, it's time to crack open our textbooks and start studying. Lead Library is offering a unique stress relief for Study Week with the help of Man's Best Friend. Pause for a Study Break begins tomorrow and Wednesday, where you can spend a few minutes with therapy dogs. Love Dog Adventures will be bringing these furry little friends. The program says petting a dog can lower heart rates and blood pressure for calmer breathing and reducing stress. The therapy dogs will be in the first floor of the library in the Amargosa room. I can't wait to go over there and pet one of those little puppies. Pop one of those little puppies.
Puppies, yeah, I know. I think that is going to relieve my stress.
I know. The problem is, I'm a little allergic, so if anything, that's going to cause more
then
stress.
You can't pet those puppies.
Yeah, but they're so cute. How do you not?
That's true. You could just watch them.
I could watch other people. I'll watch other people pet them. Anyway, after the break, Shelley will sit down with Russell Roberts from the Clark County Air Quality. We'll be right back.
Participation in Greek fraternity and sorority life at UNLV can provide an experience like no other. With benefits including supportive friends, leadership and career opportunities, and community service.
Greek life at UNLV is really great because it's a good way to network and meet new people from all over the place.
We got academics and we're all about that culture. So we encompass everything all around, and we're out here and we're trying to better ourselves and try to make it better, and let's just make it all better all together.
Chelsea. I'm Toby.
It's your boy Miles Lowe.
Crystal McGuerza.
King Louie here. This is Don Conquer.
3 P's in a Pod.
The Miles Lowe Midweek Show.
The King Louie Show. The Revolution.
Combox Radio with Crystal May.
KUMV. The Rebel HD2.
Come listen to us at therebelhd2.com.
It's indie rock, pop rock, and underground hip hop. R&B makes electronic and dance music.
Click on the listen link and there we are.
A report released by the American Lung Association may take your breath away. This study ranks Las Vegas and Henderson as the 10th most polluted city in the country, which affects our air quality. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, why is our ranking so high?
Well, it's based on actual monitoring data for 2 of the 6 pollutants for which there's a federal health-based air quality standard. We were pretty good for particulate. We had almost 20 days in 2012. The data lags a year, so the 2014 report's based on 2012 data. And we had 20 days in that year where the levels of ozone were at or above the federal standard.
And how is this study conducted?
Well, you'd have to ask the Lung Association for the specifics, but basically we report that data to a centralized database that's administered by EPA. They have access to that. So nationally, they look at all of the air monitoring data that is submitted on an annual basis. They compare that data to the federal health-based standards and make the conclusions that you see in that report.
Has it been this bad in previous years for Las Vegas?
It's been better. Ozone is driven by high temperatures. That's the engine that cooks the ingredient pollutants, if you will. We live in the desert. It gets very, very hot. Typically, when you have hotter than normal summers, you're going to see higher than normal levels of ozone. So since the 1990s, it's certainly cleaner. There are fewer days. But the trend is upwards towards more days that are over the federal health-based standard.
So how does this affect us in Las Vegas?
Well, in simplest terms, your lungs are designed to breathe air. If they're breathing something else, it's not good for you. Ozone is a particularly pervasive irritant to the respiratory system. So when you have levels of ozone that are higher than the standard, the conclusion is that you have adverse effects on human health, particularly among segments of the population that are sensitive. And there's one of the things that the study showed is there's a lot of people in the state of Nevada, and most of the people in Nevada are here in Clark County, that are in at-risk categories. People with diabetes, the young, the old, people with coronary disease, people with asthma. Those are the people that are affected most by air pollution in general, and specifically in this case, ozone.
And is there any solution towards this? What can we do?
Well, that's a good question. First thing that we have to do on our side of it, the folks that work at the Department of Air Quality, is we have to figure out where it's coming from. Unlike particulate dust that blows off construction sites that are local in nature, ozone is a regional pollutant, and we have employed some fairly sophisticated modeling that we believe indicates that there is locally generated ingredients of ozone, but at least as much of the ozone, at least what we think now, comes from the Pacific Rim, from Southern California and other areas throughout the western United States, areas that are outside of the jurisdiction of Clark County. So that's going to be a challenge to first understand what are the sources of ozone, and then what are the most effective control measures. Typically, ozone comes from a byproduct of combustion. So fuels that are burned at power plants, fuels that are burned in automobiles, other types of industrial processes where there are evaporative emissions like paint application, that kind of thing. Those are the kind of things that we look for in terms of reduction strategies that reduce the emissions to levels that the ozone concentrations will be below the standard.
Well, thank you for being with us today, and hopefully we can create a better air quality here in Las Vegas.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short break.
Scribecast Radio Show. We talk to new artists, major artists, the best artists. We talk about hip hop, R&B, anything else, hot topics. This is awesomeness. Play some new hip hop. Second hour, we typically play new R&B. Freaking amazing. I'm Scribe Cash. I'm the best. What's up? It's your girl Scribe Cash. This is the Scribe Cash Radio Show. You can listen to me on the rebelhd2.com.
Only place where you're going to hear these stories, the stories that count, that Combox Radio refuses to cover. My show is The King Louie Show, so, you know, no one really wants to hear about the last bombing that happened in Baghdad. So we do the stories that matter, like K-Rev having a seizure at mid-court, or fast-paced show with lots of fast-paced music, especially punk rock, and stories that hit hard. King Louie here, host of The King Louie Show on the Rebel HD2, and I am here every Friday noon to 2.
Welcome back from the break.
You know, it was pretty hot this weekend.
It actually was. I was kind of happy. I got to wear my summer clothes.
Oh yeah? Finally busting out the fun
shorts
stuff.
And the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. I busted out my bikini, so it was really awesome.
Oh, great. I haven't done that yet. So.
I know. But Alvin, will I be able to wear my bikini for the rest of the week?
Well, Ron, I'm glad you asked today. As you can see today, that it was actually 85 degrees with cloudy skies. So maybe today, I'm not so sure if you want to try today, but you can give it a shot. As we can look on to the current temperatures, we can see our current temperature is 78 in Mercury, 85 in Las Vegas, and 84 in Kingsman. If we want to look at an almanac today, we can see that 85 is our average, or our actual temperature, but look at the record, 108. And the low, 40 degrees. Oh my gosh, that's so cold right now. But if you want to look at the current wind speed that we have for today, we can see that our wind speed is 16 miles per hour, 23 in Mercury, and 4 in Goldsfield. When looking for today, that we have a red flag warning, which means no open fire, no open pits, just be careful out there. We also have a wind advisory from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. So just be on the road, just be careful. When you're driving, have 2 hands on the steering wheel, and just be careful of the dust. Also, the red flag warning would be till 9 p.m. If we want to look into the radar today, we can see that there is cloudy skies that's going over our valley and just bringing in not some moisture, but you can see there's some moisture that's coming into our valley today. Looking at our satellite radar, we can see that there's a disturbance up in the north. And if we go pushing onto here, in this area of the country near the Great Lakes, there's rain and just a disturbance that's going on through the nation that's pushing east into the nation. We can look at the lows today, 46 at Tonopah, 69 in Mercury, and 73 in Las Vegas. If we want to look at tomorrow's forecast, we have San Francisco at 64 degrees, 62 in Tonopah, and 85. Look, rainy, and then just over there. If we want to look at our 7 days forecast, we can see our 7-day forecast. It is 73, 75, and Tuesday and Wednesday, we just have cloudy skies. But look at the rest of the week. We can see for the rest of the week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're having sunny skies. And now we'll send it back to the desk and Daphne for more news.
Thanks, Alvin. Well, Ben Affleck is booted from a local casino and Spider-Man swings to the top of the box office. Reporter Kyle King updates us with our entertainment news.
We live in a city that never sleeps. Gambling is big in Las Vegas. However, casinos get aggravated when people constantly win.
To your left. Bend to your left.
Ben Affleck gets banned from the Hard Rock Casino for winning too much money in blackjack. Is it pure luck, or is he the master at counting cards? Over the weekend, the #1 movie that hit the box office in the Valley was The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's take a look.
Every day, I wake up knowing that the more people I try to save, the more enemies I will make. And it's just a matter of time before I face those with more power than I can can overcome.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is action-packed and will blow your mind. Being the #1 movie in the nation right now is well-deserved, with the new slow-motion effects in the fight scenes and new villains introduced as well. Check it out, Rebels. Here inside the Greenspun Hall, Studio G produces the daily newscast with a strong production crew. However, over in the White House, Obama needed assistance with his broadcasting.
Does anybody know how to fix this? Oh, thank you. You got it?
I got this. I see it all the time. There. That should work.
Congratulations to the White House Correspondents Association. Here's to 100 more terrific years. Thank you very much.
Despite the technical difficulties, the White House dinner was able to be complete. For Studio G, I'm Kyle King with your entertainment news.
It's a common procedure that's associated with wrinkles, Botox, but now people are beginning to associate it with migraines. And yes, this is the same formula used to reduce wrinkles. Compressed nerves are the cause of migraines, and by blocking off the nerves, you can be relieved of pain.
What Botox does, it's a neurotoxin that paralyzes muscle temporarily. So if the nerve is being squeezed every time you furrow your brow or stare at a computer screen or you're out in the sun, well, the treatment for that with Botox would be to paralyze this muscle, relax the muscle so the nerve doesn't get compressed, and that does the trick.
There are 4 different areas that migraines can originate. If you are unsure of the source, there are ways to check where it is coming from and if it is the reason for your pain.
Patients often say, well, I don't really want toxin, and that's okay. You can check to see if this area is the true source of your migraine by blocking it. So some patients will come in and we'll do a nerve block, just like in the dental office. You know, you do a little lidocaine or you do a little Marcaine, and it blocks the nerve and the migraine goes away.
Botox lasts only about 4 months, which is one of its downsides, but it can provide some temporary relief for a chronic migraine.
Coming up, how one place is teaching movement and art in a unique way. We'll be right back.
I want this place to be a place that they feel safe, and secure, a place where they get inspired. So many times we kind of get complacent in our everyday life, transforming lives in the community from the inside out. I've been in fitness my whole life, but now tying that in now in my spiritual walk, it's been just amazing. Some people may want to run a marathon. Some may want to just get off their asthma inhaler. Exercising and moving our bodies, I think it's, you know, we say if you don't use it, you lose it.
This past weekend, readers of a certain genre gathered for a celebration of stories. Reporter Donald Wood has more.
Here across from the UNLV campus at Alternate Reality Comics and at comic book stores all across the Vegas Valley, it's Free Comic Book Day. At Alternate Reality, people gathered for this annual promotion and celebration of reading comics.
Comics for people of all ages, all walks of life. For whatever your reading taste is, there's a comic for you.
I came out here because all the comics out here are free today, obviously. And there's a lot of cool new titles, a lot of previews of future titles.
The free comic book stand wasn't the only thing in store. People got the chance to have a sketch of the comic characters they wanted, personally drawn for them by local artists. Along with raffles, back issue sales, and people in superhero costumes helping out, Alternate Reality gave fans a memorable celebration for the comic book culture.
Actually, I was just a friend of the owner, and he just asked me like if I was coming in costume, and I was, and I just figured, oh hey, I can help out while I'm here.
I came just to celebrate Free Comic Book Day. Never been approached to be a part of it. This is actually my first time at Alternate Reality, so I'm having a lot of fun today though, just being a part of Free Comic Book Day.
It just gets people who are not normally comic book people involved and knowing that there's shops all around town and that there's amazing things done in comic books. They're not, you know, just for little kids. There's all kinds of awesome stuff.
I mean, everything from the Comic-Con to movies to international debuts of comics and stories, they just get bigger every year.
For Studio G, I'm Donald Woods.
For more information on the next comic book day in 2015, visit freecomicbookday.com. You know, I think I saw some of my best friends in there.
Really?
The Joker. Well, the Joker's my arch enemy. I'm really Batman.
I think I would want to go just to get dressed up. That looks really, really cool.
Who would you dress up as?
I don't know.
I see you as a supervillain.
Oh, that would be really cool too.
I
would love to be a supervillain.
Which one?
I don't know.
Oh.
Anyone would be great.
We'll talk about it more later.
Well, it's a training movement that challenges the human body to its fullest potential. Reporter Troy Fosgate shows us more.
A form of training and art, two identities linked together known as parkour.
Parkour is like something for everybody. You can do it just about anywhere, but it should be taught in a very safe environment first.
It's like human graffiti. Anywhere you go, you make your mark with your movement. Any kind of movement benefits parkour, and vice versa. Any kind of parkour movement benefits any other sport. It's one of those sports where we use everything. We use hands, feet. We train constantly, lots of plyometrics, lots of plyometric kinetics, and lots of calisthenics. Everything and anything benefits parkour.
Parkour expresses the freedom of movement and the fountain of youth.
I feel like a kid again. Like that's the main reason. Like that's the coolest thing about this sport. We don't judge you. There's no judges. There's no incorrect way of doing things. There's a dangerous way of doing things, but anything that's your style is correct.
Training facilities such as HKPK Las Vegas teaches people of all ages, even the little ones.
Our goal is to affect one kid at a time. If we can affect one child, it will affect another child, and they'll bring a friend, and then everybody's starting to now get off the couch and go play, then that's kind of where we want to go.
It is the best. Like, it is the awesomest job. I get to do what I love all the time. Since it is still underground, it's nothing that's big. There's not really many coaches. It's not really that publicized. It's great to just kind of to teach this community that's going to evolve to where when the sport does get big, I can say, hey, I helped these guys, you know. It's a great job.
Parkour pushes boundaries physically and mentally to the highest limit possible. For Studio G, I'm Troy Fosgate.
Thanks, Troy. If you would like to know more about parkour or register for classes, go to hkpklv.com.
Man, that looked like so much fun.
I would have broken some bones.
I wish I had gone with Troy to film
Me
that.
too.
I would have done some backflips.
Maybe like jumped off some really tall walls.
Oh wow! Wow, that's really creative.
I know.
No, I would have like done 3 backflips into the foam pit. That would have been awesome.
I would try to do that. Maybe I could.
Really?
If there was if it was soft, not cement.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's a foam pit. You could
Oh,
like
if
run
the
up
foam
of it.
pit, I would love to swim in there.
Do you think anyone's ever drowned in a foam pit?
They probably got foam in their mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then it's like, oh man, I did a cool backflip. Now I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It doesn't sound that much fun.
Well, that's all the news we have for you today, this last Monday of edition of Studio G. We have enjoyed bringing you the news from the start of the week.
Have a wonderful day, Las Vegas. See you next semester.